Tonight, teachers walk off the job in a protest over pay and conditions. And police continue to investigate a fatal car crash north of Port Lincoln.
With the latest from around the region, your nightly news with John Hunt begins now.
Good evening. More than 250 schools around South Australia closed their doors today, with teachers striking for better pay and work conditions. Locally, hundreds gathered in Port Lincoln to make their voice heard.
It's a message being echoed across South Australia.
Public education is the future of our nation.
Thousands of teachers putting down the pens and pencils, joining together to demand better working conditions and pay. The sentiment being felt right across the state, with rallies being held in Adelaide, Whyalla and Port Lincoln.
Our schools and our preschools, they need the proper funding that's going to give them the opportunities to support all of those young people in their education.
Support growing for the Australian Education Union's plan to improve our school system. The union asking for several changes, including better salaries, improved country school conditions and smaller class sizes.
We're on strike today. We want to send a strong message to the state government that the offer they put forward was not worth recommending to our members because it didn't meet the expectations. It didn't meet the demands of our members.
Around 250 South Australian schools closed their doors, with another 140 schools running modified programs. 3 schools here in Port Lincoln were forced to shut for the day.
I've been a teacher for about 15 years and I just want to make sure the department's accountable and that they continue to value what we do, but also the SSOs what they do.
80% of students with a disability or other educational disadvantage are in the public system. Ms Walding says she's striking so these children can have better access to education.
We've got kids coming through with high complexities that really need our support, and for us to do our job well, we need all the conditions that we're asking for. The
teachers watching a live stream of thousands gathering in Adelaide.
They're not walking out on their students, they're walking out for their students.
Nathan Rector, 7 Spencer Golf News.
A 44-year-old Port Pirie woman will appear in court after police allegedly found cannabis and a firearm in her possession. Police conducted a search of a property south of Port Pirie on Saturday night as part of a firearm security audit. On arrival, they detected a strong odour of cannabis, leading to the discovery of 3.5 kilograms, along with an alleged insecure rifle. Authorities are urging the public to contact their local police station if they have concerns about their firearm storage arrangements. Major Crash is still investigating the cause of a fatal car crash on the Eyre Peninsula on Friday night. A 74-year-old died after a collision on the Lincoln Highway near Louth Bay. Nathan Rector has more.
It's been a busy few days for investigators as they try and piece together the circumstances of the crash. A 74-year-old man died on the scene just outside of Louth Bay, the other driver escaping without serious injury.
Just before 7 p.m. on Friday 28 June, patrols and emergency services were called to the Lincoln Highway after a Ford sedan and a Renault sedan crashed head-on.
Services from Tumby Bay, Cummins and Port Lincoln all responding, shutting down the highway for several hours. Police putting in diversions with traffic sent through Moonlight Bay Road.
The driver and sole occupant of the Ford sedan, a 74-year-old man from the Spencer Gulf, sadly died at the scene. The driver and sole occupant of the Renault, a 55-year-old man, also from the Spencer Gulf, was not injured.
Major Crash flying in from Adelaide to determine what went so horribly wrong. It's the second road fatality in the Lower Eyre Peninsula within 2 months.
Investigators from Major Crash investigated the collision, and this is the 60th fatality on our roads this year, compared to 38 at the same time in 2018.
Police are renewing calls for drivers to take extra care on our roads, with school holidays starting this Friday.
Police are asking that all drivers, both coming to and leaving the Eyre Peninsula, drive to the conditions, obey all the speed limits and road signs that may be out, take frequent rest breaks if you're travelling long distances.
Police will be targeting distracted drivers, making sure everyone arrives to their destination safely.
Port Pirie's lead smelter is experiencing further delays, with Neostar announcing operations will be postponed until the second week of July. The unplanned stoppage of production has been caused by an outage at the site's TSL and blast furnace. The site went into force majeure back in May, causing a spike in global lead prices.
A new management down there, a traffic guru coming in at the end of this, or end of June, hopefully about the next 2 or 3 weeks. They want to go and they want to get everything right up and running first up.
A Port Pirie woman has launched a support group for mesh implant sufferers. The implant has left thousands of Australian women with life-altering side effects and little to no help.
Port Pirie's Kim Blitzky is supporting sufferers of a medical mesh disaster, teaming up with 2 Aussie mums to create awareness and support for those in need.
3 of us mesh injured women that decided that we would look at setting up a not-for-profit organisation, given that there was no actual entity.
The implants were designed to treat incontinence and pelvic organ prolapse, giving support to weakened organs and repairing damaged tissue. Instead, they led to serious and debilitating side effects, leaving thousands of Australian women injured and in pain.
There's a lot of people out there isolated in rural communities who don't even know they're mesh injured yet.
The trio deciding to create their own support group, after finding that little to no support existed for sufferers in the region.
There was a lot of people finding out that they had been injured by mesh, but there's actually no designated support for those people.
Mesh Injured Australia will offer access to qualified counselling and education for those affected. The group will also advocate for sufferers to be added to the disability support pension.
Some people are going to require lifelong care, you know. Removal of the device isn't necessarily the answer for everyone, and it's certainly not the golden bullet.
It's hard enough finding out that you have these devastating side effects without having to realise that the cost that goes with it.
Sufferers looking for support are encouraged to call 1-800-MESHED. Dominic Beaton, 7 Spencer Golf News.
Still to come tonight, plans to bring a form of motorbike racing back to Port Pirie. And Port Augusta residents go Greyhound racing one final time. Welcome back. A group of racing enthusiasts is looking to kickstart long-track motorcycle racing in Port Pirie. They're in talks with council to get the local half-mile track back up and running for the first time in 20 years.
On track to bring speedway racing back to Port Pirie. Supporters are hoping to return the Pirie Half Mile to its former glory, with an ambitious plan to repair the decaying site.
We'd like to resurrect the track. The track is legendary status worldwide as a long track.
The thrill-seeking motorsport has been a popular attraction in Port Pirie since 1933. Former racer Neil Burston says it's a great opportunity to boost tourism.
Pity to see it go to waste. It used to bring lots of people to town, to Port Pirie, and they all spent money in town, fuel, food, drink.
The group looking to receive a 5-year lease of life through council.
Council itself would endorse any privateer that was looking at doing that, because it's all about entertainment on the weekend.
Long track racer Chris Bickard holds a special link to Port Pirie's track, a third-generation rider wishing to follow in his family footsteps.
I've been brought up with it. My grandfather raced. And my uncle raced, my dad raced, my dad raced.
But it's not a sport for the faint-hearted.
Some people say, oh, you're crazy, but until you do it, you can't really experience it.
Dominic Beaton, 7 Spencer Golf News.
A new national survey hopes to tackle some of the big issues facing the next generation. The Mission Australia Youth Survey is the largest online survey for people aged between 15 to 19. The program helping younger generations to speak up about the issues affecting them. The group says results will give them some direction in what services are needed for young people. Surveys can be completed at local libraries or online. Submissions close at the end of the month. A musical afternoon showcasing local talents is being held at the Wyler Adventist Church. The monthly program is open to the public, with church leaders encouraging locals to take part.
A musical day for all to enjoy. This monthly new program at the church is aiming to bring people with a passion for music together.
Lots of guests coming over from Port Augusta and from Whyalla, and so it's going to be an exciting time.
And practising for her debut is Indigenous Maori woman Georgie Kemp.
Yeah, I love it. I come here every Thursdays and I come here for practice and I'll be performing this afternoon, my first time.
She says she never thought she would learn the ukulele.
Now I've got 3 songs and I reckon I consider myself a quick learner.
Organisers say it's a great opportunity for the community to come and visit.
It gets people together, people of like mind, and it brings other people into the church as well who don't normally come. And it also gives people a chance to be able to share their skills.
Sometimes people are still busy with work and the weekends they could come and come and listen to music and just relax.
And the next musical session will be held mid-July with the church held weekly.
Come along and check us out on a Saturday morning at 11 o'clock and you'll be most welcome. And we have a luncheon to follow.
Diary Hams, 7 Spencer Golf News.
Looks like a lot of fun. Port Augusta has farewelled Greyhound racing, with the local club holding its final race meet over the weekend. It brings to an end over 40 years of racing, with hundreds gathering trackside one last time.
A big send-off to mark the end of an era.
Today is a celebration. We're celebrating 41 years of a very proud club, rich in history.
The Port Augusta Greyhound Club forced to finish up racing at Chinnery Park after dwindling nomination numbers for its race meets. Patron Dan Van Holst Pelican says the family environment has led to its long-running success.
It's free to come in. You know, there's a fence that's only 3 feet high so kids can get right up close to the dogs running on a grass track.
The club's identity also forged through volunteers. The Broadbridge family has been involved for 3 generations, while Whyalla local Gary Rawlings purchased his first Greyhound 40 years ago.
The social fabric of Port Augusta has been enriched by people that have been involved in this small club.
Rain did little to dampen the spirits of around 600 punters. Father-son trainers Harry and Clint Trengove taking out the coveted Port Augusta Cup.
Awesome to win the last one. We won a feature about 2 weeks ago, it was worth 20 grand, and this one I felt more nervous today.
And then there was one.
The final ever race here at the Port Augusta Greyhound Racing Complex.
Dogs treating the crowd to one last hare around the track. An era now gone, but certainly not forgotten.
It has been an absolutely outstanding club for Port Augusta and for the sport.
Garth Burley, 7 Spencer Golf News.
Stay with us after the break. We'll have the weekend footy wrap and we'll have the latest weather details with Britt. Hello again. The state government wants local sporting clubs to consider investing in a portable defibrillator. They're encouraging clubs to apply for an active club program grant to help fund their purchase. It comes after a number of serious cardiac incidents in recent years, with many patients cheating death thanks to the machines. The automated devices can be used by anyone, with instructions provided on how to apply and use them. In a cardiac arrest, the chances of survival decrease by 10%. For each minute, there's no treatment. To apply for the grant, head to the Office of Sport and Recreation website. Turning to footy now, and Solomon Town continue to prove their worth as SGL title contenders, defeating a spirited West Augusta side by 38 points over the weekend. Garth Burley has the weekend wrap.
It's shaped as a tough contest between 2 sides both middling on the table with 4 wins each. The match started as expected, with no side able to dominate the other, but a West Augusta goal on the stroke of half-time gave them the upper hand to lead by 4 points. But the tide quickly turned. With fire in their belly, Sollies kicked 7 straight goals in the third quarter. The Hawks did manage some consolations, but it was too little too late, going down by 7 goals. In the other matches, Centrals notched a win against Port in the clash of the cellar dwellers, and the Lions fell short by a goal in the top-of-the-table contest against Souths. Down in Port Lincoln, Tasman has suffered its first defeat of the year at the hands of Mallee Park. Wayback defeated Lincoln South by 25 points and Marble Range won a low scorer against Boston. In the Great Flinders, United Yelena remain undefeated, kicking 17 majors against the Cougars. Tumby Bay took the points against Lock and Ayr United could only salvage 7 behinds in a 93-point loss to Ramblers. Over in Whyalla, Central Whyalla thumped Rupina, West Whyalla survived a scare from Waroona Bay, and the Norse forwards were unsung in a 125-point win against South. Only percentage can separate Broughton Mundura and Crystalbrook on top of the northern areas after both recorded wins, and Southern Flinders were too good for Orroroo in a 12-point win at home. On the York Peninsula, Southern Eagles handed Baskerville their first loss of the season. Central York won by 7, the Crows by 54, and Wallaroo made it back-to-back wins against Butte. And finally to the Silver City, where the two games couldn't have been any more different. South gave Centrals a touch-up by a margin of 142 points, while the other match went down to the wire as North Broken Hill scraped over the line by a single point. So there's all the action on the football field from across the region. I'll be back tomorrow with the rest of sport.
Garth Burley reporting there. And time to take a look at what's happening in the weather. Here's Britt.
Thank you, John, and good evening. It's been a fine day across the region. Port Lincoln with a top of 17 degrees, Port Augusta and Whyalla both 16, Broken Hill, Port Pirie and Adelaide all 15. Low clouds sat about the region today with a weak front due to cross tomorrow morning. Taking a look at tomorrow's waters now with westerly winds tending northwesterly at up to 15 knots and seas at 1.5 metres. We'll see a frosty start to tomorrow, warming to a mostly sunny day. Some showers expected at Port Lincoln and Coffin Bay, with maximum temps hovering around average for this time of year. Port Augusta and Woodner 18, Whyalla, Port Lincoln and Cleves 17, Coffin Bay, Corn, Broken Hill, Port Pirie, Kadina and Adelaide all 16 and Clare 14. And the rest of the week is looking fine and mostly sunny as well, warming up a few degrees on Friday. Port Lincoln and Cleves sticking in the mid-teens before jumping to a top of 19 on Friday. Woodner 18 Wednesday and Thursday with a top of 21 on Friday. Whyalla looking fine on Wednesday, a top of 16, sunny on Thursday. Port Augusta fine and mostly sunny through the week, expected to reach 22 degrees on Friday. Kadina with fine conditions over the coming days. Port Pirie looking partly cloudy on Wednesday, sunny Thursday and Friday. Clare with fine conditions Wednesday and Thursday, maximums in the low to mid-teens. And Broken Hill remaining mostly sunny through the rest of the week. And John, with that, it's back to you.
Thanks, Brett. And that's the local news this Monday evening. Thanks so much for your company. I'll have updates later in the evening, but until then, enjoy your night's viewing here on 7. On behalf of the team, it's good night.